or no? Okay, let's run it. So let's dive into the call real quick. I see you guys on here. Alex, Mason, Crystal, Eric, Caitlin, Marin. I appreciate you guys for being on the call today. So okay, we're gonna identify the problem you solve. And the first thing before I get into some of those questions, hopefully you guys took time this past week. I know there was quite a few questions. I have my notebook in the other room, but I went through these questions myself, and I just sat here and I just wrote. I got up, came back, wrote down some more, and it just really allowed me to pour out all the things that have just been compartmentalized and maybe tucked away up in here of the problems that I experienced before I got started, the things that I was struggling with, the things that I was missing in my life, and just all those things that maybe we aren't consciously aware of or we forgot about or whatever. Okay, it really allowed me to get clear and become aware of those things. And I hope that you guys took the time to go through that for yourself. If you didn't, today is a great day. There's no better time than today, not tomorrow, right now. So let's get into it. So I want to say a couple things before we dive into the questions. At the core of every business, I said this in our chat the other day, super important. At the core of every business is a problem they solve. A business owner's goal, a leader's goal is not to make money. It's not to make money, but to solve a problem. And that is maybe issue number one with so many people, including myself, is our focus, our chase, or our goals are set around money. Our self-worth are set around a result that we can't control. And I maybe sound like a broken record because I'm always talking about this, but it's so important because this is where a lot of our issues that we find ourselves going through are arising from. It's how we define success. It's how we're perceiving failure. It's how it's how our mindset is. Do we have a growth mindset? Do we have a fixed mindset? It's how we're seeing things. A business owner's goal, a leader's goal is not to make money. That's a byproduct. We know that money is important. I'm not discounting that. What I'm saying, and this is not my word, I heard this from Grant Cardone, I heard this from Robert Kiyosaki. A business owner's goal is to solve a problem. That is our goal. So the topic of today's call is identifying the problem that you solve. Okay. A problem, write this down. A problem isn't a problem until you understand the uniqueness of the problem. A problem isn't a problem until you understand the uniqueness, the specialness. Why is that a problem for that specific person? Okay. Until you understand the uniqueness of that problem. And our job as a business owner, as leaders here, is to understand the uniqueness of our prospect or whoever we're talking to's problem. And in this case, why these questions are so important is because everybody obviously has their own unique problem, but you only solve one problem. Okay. You solve one problem that has different effects. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But we're not trying to chase or figure out all these different things. We find ourselves in conversations just trying to figure out what to say next. And if you guys were on the call last night, then you heard us talk a little bit more about that. It's not even about what am I supposed to say next? Or I know the question last night was, how do you begin to say, or how do you tell somebody what do you do? It's completely changing your mindset, because when you think in this transformational way, that was what we talked about last week. The difference between transactional versus transformational conversations is, in a transactional conversation, that's what you're thinking about. You're thinking about what do I say next? You're constantly changing and trying to come up with the next best thing to say, or changing or coming up with what you do. With transformational conversations, you've already outlined, you've already gotten so much clarity on who you're speaking to, on the person that you're going to help, on that problem that you solve. So when you go into every conversation, it's not a guessing game. There's no guesswork. You've already outlined this information. You've already outlined the purposeful questions of what you're gonna ask, of what the conversation is gonna going to look like? And so some of these questions that I send in the chat for you guys, hopefully you wrote some of them down. I'm going to give you guys just like, I'm going to set a timer for like 2-3 minutes. I'm going to be quiet in just a second. And you guys, from any of these questions, actually I'll choose one. And if you didn't write it down, you can write something on the spot. It doesn't need to be long or anything crazy, but you can type it in the chat. Okay. One of the questions, what is your definition of success beyond status and financial achievement? Okay. Beyond that stuff, what is your definition of success? What do you value outside of just money and income? Okay. Why did you say yes to I am? And I wrote in the chat, this is very important, a hint, you most likely did not say yes to trading. Okay. And Caitlin is actually a really great example because so when she got started, she was already introduced to trading through a signals group. But I said, hey, let's go beyond that. Let's go back a little bit. Before you even got introduced to the signals group, why did you say yes? Trading was not on your radar. There was something in your life that made you say yes. Trading just happened to be the vehicle. Trading just happened to be the skill at that time that you fell in love with, or not even fell in love with, because I didn't fall in love with trading, but that caught your attention. You said yes to what? Okay. Why did you decide to say yes? What was actually missing in your life when you realized that you needed to make a change? What were you struggling with? What problem did you need to solve for yourself? And I'm gonna just press a timer. We're gonna do like 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, and type in the chat this answer to the question. Just one thing. What were you struggling with before you got started? What were you struggling with before you got started? I'm gonna set a timer. All right, I'm gonna start reading some of these. If you haven't texted yours, just keep going. Type yours in the chat. All right, I'm gonna start it from the top here. Alex says working 2 part-time jobs and not having stability in income. Okay, great. Awesome. Caitlin said not being fulfilled, living someone else's dream. Love that. Okay. And these are you, like these are for you. This is nothing to do with anybody else. Doesn't matter. It's what do you feel like you were struggling with? Mason says it is still time freedom that I see I can have, so I can do things I have never had the time for. I also didn't have a close group of like-minded people who are focused on not just bettering themselves, but bettering others. Nice to have people like this. Okay, great. Crystal says, what I had trouble with when I got started, overworking and not knowing how to get out of it, low self-esteem, unclear vision. Perfect. There you go. Alex says, super unhappy with my situation, felt like there was no other options out. Okay. Crystal says, no support group with like-minded people, just working on things alone. Okay. Marin says, I was struggling going into a job that I realized was not for me. I felt small. I felt small there and stressed at my home situation at the time. I was searching for something different. I didn't know what yet. I didn't have people who supported me. Okay, perfect. I'm really glad that you guys took the time to write those out. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for sharing that with everybody on here. I went to go grab my notebook. I got like 3 pages worth of what I wrote down and everything. And for me, like I was struggling with for sure finances, like living check to check wasn't fun. But I started to go deeper with that feeling, and that's what I want you guys to cultivate. Not just like what I like physically want. Like money and status and achievement, all that stuff is great, but like the feeling, I want you guys to go into the feeling, leaving this call. Even if you wrote some notes down, go back into that feeling, what you were struggling with. And I was struggling with belief. I was struggling with low self-esteem. I heard some of you guys talk about that. I was struggling with, confidence in myself, competence in myself. Can I actually do certain things? Um, the whole 9 yards. And I have this whole list of stuff here. And I also, after that, wrote, how did that, I know I didn't put that as a question on there, but I wrote out, how are you a better person now? How have you improved some of those things that you were feeling or that you were going through mentally or emotionally? And I wrote those out because leaving this call, I'll share that with you guys. If you write some of those things out of how you've become a better person since maybe you got started, and I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about financial achievement, not talking about status or any of that. I'm talking about you as a person. How have you become better and improved? This is going to help you be able to see clearly the transformation, not only that you've had so far, but once you have clarity and you've identified that and you become aware of that for yourself, it's going to be not even like, I hate using the word easy because things are subjective to everyone, but it's going to make things so much more seamless, and your belief is going to be so much higher when it comes to knowing that you can help somebody, because now you've clearly identified that for yourself of how you've helped yourself, or how this whole journey has helped you transform. Okay, so I appreciate you guys sharing that with me. If you maybe haven't thought about the feelings that you had, because I know some of you guys wrote some feelings in there, and some of you guys just kind of wrote, not to say like surface level. I'm not discounting anybody's response; it's your response, but I want you to take it deeper than that surface level. Okay, based on maybe what you said, what were the feelings and the mental battles, the emotional strains, the things that you were just going through that you were looking for? And maybe it's not all negative, maybe it's not all a bad place that you were in mentally, emotionally. Maybe it's good feelings, but you were just looking for something more. Everybody gets started for some reason. So thank you guys for sharing that. Okay. But I want you guys to dig into the feeling leaving this call. And I'm gonna ask you a couple questions here. How can your business, now that maybe you've identified some of those things, how can your business this here, okay, become a vehicle to help you? Ask yourself, you achieve those things. Okay. You've already kind of wrote those things down. But how can this vehicle, I wrote this weird, how can your business become a vehicle to help other people achieve those things, build those things, create those things for themselves? Okay. Because we're making it about, and this is kind of like at the heart of everything. We were taught a certain way to, and not saying that that way is wrong. You can still create results, you can still build a business, but transactional behaviors, transactional way of doing things, it's all it is. It's transactional. It's like buying a car. I bought my car and I never heard from my car dealer again. People say, somebody, a realtor sold me my home, and I never have heard from them again. It's not always the case, but that's that's usually a transactional way of doing things. And that's how we're showing up in our conversations. But when we take a step back and we really look through a lot of these questions, we realize that we can actually create an experience for the person that gets started with you. And it's not just about, like, every conversation doesn't need to just be about, are you making money with the products yet? How are you doing with blah, blah, blah? Like, what type of growth and transformation have you had outside of that? That's important, but that doesn't actually ever come. I remember Jason Brown said this one time. He said, the financial wagon in your life. Okay, there's spiritual wagon, mental wagon, emotional wagon. Okay, I look at them all in like a little line. He said the financial wagon is usually the last one to show up, financial and physical. Okay, because it's the outer part. It's the things that not necessarily you can control right away. We have a lot of internal work. I know when I came into this, there was a lot of things internally that I needed to work on. So when I saw other people have crazy amounts of money being made, or quote unquote success had, I felt some type of way, like I wasn't enough, or my self-esteem was this, or I couldn't do XYZ because I didn't hit it like them, or I didn't do it like them as fast. But that has nothing to do with it, because we haven't defined what success looks like for us yet. We haven't even gotten clear on some of these questions and why we came into this, what type of growth we've had. So I'm harping on this a little bit because I want to just maybe ingrain that the way that we're seeing this is what's really holding us back. And I want to change the approach in how we do this. So how can your business, that's a question, how can your business become a vehicle to help other people achieve the things that you just wrote down, the things that you have been struggling with? Okay, overcoming that, growing through it. Okay, and I want you to take note of this. The things that he said, usually the negative feelings that we have, the problems that we are experiencing in our lives, the things that maybe even make us angry, okay, those negative feelings are attached and connected to your highest values, okay? They're connected to your highest goals. Like, that's what means the most to you in your life. Those negative feelings, the problems that, like, how everybody looks at problems differently. Like, I may see a problem and you may not even see it as a problem, right? And so on and so forth. And so whatever you look at as a problem, whatever feelings that you have that are negative feelings, those are usually connected to your highest values. I'm going to talk about why knowing your values are so important, okay? And also your goals. And what are the most important to you? What means the most to you? Okay. Many of us, put my hand up real high, many of us may feel stuck, may feel inconsistent. The whole list goes on, okay? In what we're doing right now. And I've talked about this already. We need to change our approach, our perspective, but the key to getting unstuck is clarity. Okay. And I don't want to overuse this word, but it's something that's very important, that's going to change the game for a lot of us, is clarity. The key to getting unstuck is clarity. Clarity leads to confidence. Clarity leads to confidence. And when you have clarity and you have confidence in yourself, because now you're clear, okay? You're not rooted, your confidence is not rooted in a result that's temporary, that you can't control. Okay, it's not rooted in an outcome. Your confidence comes from your clarity in what you're doing, why you're doing it, and where you're going. Okay, when you have that, because action follows belief all day, every day. We know that. I will not do anything, at least for a long period of time, if I don't believe. And when you have this type of confidence, that comes from having clarity, you will take consistent action. And right now, I strongly believe many of us, and it's okay, it's not your fault in a sense, but many of us just don't have that confidence because we aren't clear on why and how we're showing up in conversations. That's just one example, okay? And I want to ask you guys, it's a rhetorical question, but you've got to ask yourself this. What do you believe you do here? What do you believe that you do here? Because whatever you believe that you do, that question, I know I'm not calling Alex out, it was just a great question. But last night she asked How do you ask, or how do you tell people what do you do in conversations? Okay. When you're constantly thinking about that question or what to say next, you don't have clarity on what you do yet. You don't have clarity on why you're showing up in conversations, because whatever you do believe that you do, that's how you're going to continue to show up. Okay. If you only believe that we sell trading platform, that we, help people make money, like just very surface level responses, then that's all you're going to show up with, is that surface level, like actions and behaviors and everything. We want to dig deeper. And this takes skill. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, like, if you really want to build a business, and this is not this business, this is any business. And I believe if you can build it here, you can build it anywhere. Okay. But if you really want to build this business, like, it's going to take some skill. You can't just go have these transactional conversations. You're not going to go very far. It may be a nice little starting point to get people going, but longevity, like real duplication, having a real business with real culture and real transformations that are happening, like, this is what we want to cultivate. Okay. So I really want you to ask yourself, leaving this call, what do you believe that you do? Because that's how you're continuing to show up, not only in your conversations, but in everything that you do regarding this business. It's how you show up to prospect. I don't want to prospect. Why? Because of how I feel when I'm in conversations. I feel inauthentic. I feel like it's not going anywhere. Okay. If you don't have clarity on who you want to help, you will always feel like there's no purpose in the conversation. You will always feel like, I don't know what to say next. You will always be putting your follow ups off. You will always be not wanting to prospect. Okay. When you don't have clarity on who you want to help, when you don't have clarity on the problem that you solve. Okay. Most people are focused, they're so focused on making a sale instead of making a difference. I'm going to say that one more time, but I'm going to say this real quick. We may not be consciously thinking about, oh, I want to make a sale, or I want to get this person signed up, or I want to, get this person to take a look at my video, or, like, that's the reason why we're showing up in conversations, right? But we need to change the way that we see that. Most people are so focused on that mentality, making a sale, getting somebody to, do something that we want them to do, instead of making an actual difference. And I love this thing that Bob Heilig said in one of his posts the other day. He was like, he made a comment. I'll have to send it to you guys in the chat after this. It was really good. He said, one of the worst things that you can say in sales is, and that's what we do. All selling is building trust. You're building trust with somebody else, and you're finding the problem. You're identifying the problem in their life, and if you can help them solve it, if you can help them, then that's where you can create that connection. If you cannot help them in their life, then you don't push them to do anything that doesn't make sense for them. And I feel like sometimes we feel that way in our conversations. And one, we just need to ask more purposeful questions. We're going to get into that. But Bob said, one of the worst things that you can say in sales is, I'm so good at selling, I can sell ice to an Eskimo. And he said, I was just like laughing, but he said that, and then he was like, and then he said in his caption, he was like, oh, you think you're so good at selling, you can sell ice to an Eskimo. How does it feel to sell something to someone that doesn't even need it? And I was like, man, that is so good, because that's how many of us, not you guys, but many of us in our space, and just people in general. And that's why maybe people have a bad taste in their mouth when they hear the word selling or sales, because that's maybe what they think about. Okay. It's pushing people to do things. And that's not our intention, that's not our heart, but that's just what maybe we've been taught. And I'm guilty of that as well. But we want to make a difference in our conversations. We don't want to just try to get people to do something maybe that they don't need. We really want to uncover that. We really want to identify that. Okay. So transformational conversations are conversations because you want to help people. Plain and simple. Transformational conversations are just conversations because are conversations because you want to actually help people. You're going into every conversation looking to help people. And I know that that's like, when I kept hearing that, I was like, okay, like, I do want to help people, duh. But when you break it down, what that really means is, this is mission. Like, you are mission driven. And it's funny because I have that hashtag in our text when I send out the little, link for whatever. Mission driven. Mission driven is how we've got to show up in our conversations. And the way that you get and identify that mission is by identifying the problem that you solve and the transformation that you are helping people have. But you don't actually get clarity on that until you answer some of those questions. You have to get clear on the problems that you were looking to solve, because you are your ideal person that you're looking to help. How you were feeling before you got started, what you were looking for, what was missing, what you were struggling with, what problem you were looking to solve, okay? Why you said yes in the first place. And then taking it a step further, leaving this call, asking yourself, how are you a better person now? How have you improved? And I want you to take everything that's physical off the table. Okay. You can write that in a second column. I did. I wrote down some stuff that my life has changed because of the physical transformation. I'm really talking about a lot of the spiritual, mental, emotional transformations that have taken place, because if you don't get that root right, if you don't get that wagon first, the physical, financial wagons will not show up in your life, at least how you want them to, or in an unexpected way, because God can do all great things, right? So your mission is tied to your unique story. Your mission, okay? And that mission is going to be the driving factor in how you show up and why you show up in conversations. That want, that hunger, that desire to help people because you are clear on the problem that you solve, okay? And I'm going to tell you mine at the end of this call. I just don't want to sway anybody's mission statement with what I say, because I know when I hear other people sometimes it like kind of sways what I think. I don't want to do that, but I want to give you an example because I have been working on mine. Okay. Your mission is tied to your unique story and how you are qualified to help. Okay. Your mission is tied to your unique story, that you are qualified to help. Okay. Help people. Your mission transcends your offer. Your offer is what you do, blatantly telling people what you do, like the whole, you get this, you get the live sessions, you get, go live for 24/7, you get access to all this. Like, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. Okay. If you guys have not noticed, I don't know how many of you guys follow me or regularly watch some of my stuff. I have not been like posting what I normally post about, because I have had a complete change of heart, and everything that I'm doing has to align with that mission. Because I'm not going to get into it on the call today, that we're going to save that for the next 6-week focus group. But everything that transcends from your mission literally is going to give you alignment in the content that you create, the conversations that you have, and even the conversions from those conversations from your content. So I've been like very particular, and it's not like just right now, like I'm going to get back into a groove where I'm posting every day and my stories are going to be very mission focused. I'm not just posting to post, like I have a mission, and a lot of us aren't clear on our mission yet. Okay. So if you want to help, what I meant by that is your mission transcends your offer. Is it doesn't even matter what you do. It doesn't, like, nobody cares about that. They care about your mission, how you help people, what that transformation looks like. You've got to identify that for them. If you want to help a specific person in a specific way that you feel called, like you helping a specific person in a specific way that you feel called to do that. Okay, you feel called to do that, even if that means they don't buy from you. Okay, if you want to really help people, like really help a specific person, it's not anybody, it's a specific person in a specific way. That's what makes buying from you, working with you, joining you, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, so unique. Like that's what makes people want to buy from you. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what makes people want to work with you, because you're helping a specific person in a specific way. We're just not clear on that yet. That's why we're kind of just going through all of our conversations, winging it, guessing here. I think I'm going to use this script line next, or I'm not really sure what to say, so I'm not going to respond back. I'm not going to check my message. Okay. You feel called to do that, even if that means they don't buy from you. Maybe not even right away. Okay. You're going to do this regardless. Your mission goes beyond someone buying from you or joining your team. You feel this passion, this desire to help that specific person. Okay. And when you've identified this, you will show up in your conversations so differently. You will show up in your conversations with curiosity of how you can help that person, wanting to learn. Like you'll see conversations as an opportunity to learn more about that person, not from a place of trying to get them to see what we do and figure out what to say next. Okay. This is a skill. And I hope that if you guys saw this, the 6 week focus group form, like you started to see some of the questions I was asking you, because this ain't for everybody. What we're about to do is like, I don't want a ton of business builders. Like I want people that want to help people. I want people that want to be mission driven, that want to learn the skills, that want to be better, that want to not only have transformational conversations and help other people transform, but they really want to identify that for themselves. Okay. Develop the skill, because this is all a skill. Develop the skill of uncovering problems, and ask, number two, purposeful questions. Okay, get really good at uncovering problems and asking purposeful questions. And leaving this call, I'm going to give you direction so you don't have to wait till next week. You can already start to kind of get on the ball with this. But that's really what a lot of the next focus group is going to be about, is really just doubling down, getting super clear on this and implementing it, believing in it, that you can do this. Okay, you got to get really good at this. And I told myself, I was like, if I'm going to get really good at something this year, it's going to be asking purposeful questions. It's going to be asking questions that move a conversation, that get people to really think about themselves. They get people to really challenge their limiting beliefs. And that's what I said. When somebody works with Abby personally, you can write this down for yourself, whatever that looks like. But I know the biggest thing that I struggled with before I got started was believing in myself. I didn't believe in myself. I had like the lowest level of belief. You should have seen me in high school. I had like no friends. I had like 4 friends, and it was literally because one of my best friends, who was only my best friend because of default, we were literally born like the same time, and because our moms were already friends, and our moms were already friends. So like I was just kind of friends with her because I mean she's a great person. She liked me, I like her, that type of thing. But like we were only friends because of that scenario. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had many friends. And I only had like 4 other friends because they were her friends. That's what I'm saying. Is like I just didn't believe in myself. I had so many limiting beliefs about Abby, and I let that like control my approach to life and how I saw things. So when I came into this, I still didn't believe in myself. I was just moving and taking action because I had no other choice. And I was doing things that maybe we're not talking about today. Anyways, side story. I just wanted to give you that as an example. That's where I was at. So when anytime somebody works with me, I want to make sure that they uncover those limiting beliefs. They recognize them. They feel like I challenge them to recognize them. I encourage them to overcome and to recognize how they can become better through that. Okay, that was like my biggest thing before I got started. So this is a higher level of selling. Okay, selling is just building trust. I'm going to keep it as simple as that. Okay, this is a higher level of selling. It's not transactional. It's not just let me find the next best thing to say. Let me just say the next best thing to get them to do what I want them to do, or get them to whatever. Okay, because maybe they don't even need it. I'm not trying to sign up people that don't need this, right? Because this way creates more value. It builds more trust. It creates a safe space for them to share more of themselves, because you're not trying to push them to your offer. You're trying to create a connection. That's what's going to happen differently. And he also said, this was so great. He was like, one of the worst things in sales that you can say is always be closing. And I know we've heard that so many times, and it's kind of become like very normal, like very normalized. But he said, you don't want to always be closing. You want to always be disarming. And I love that. You always want to be bringing people's guards down, because that everybody has their guard up, especially in 2023. Right now, our economy, like people are being very particular about not only like who they work with, but like where they put their money. And so I'm constantly disarming them. I'm constantly bringing their guard down and creating this safe space. And I'm making that connection. And that's how people are going to want to be curious about you, because you're curious of them. It's the whole saying, be interested, not interesting, going back to that book. Okay. So number 1, there's a specific person that you're looking to help. Number 2, they have a specific problem that you uniquely solve. Okay. Number 1, there's a specific person you're looking to help. Number 2, they have a specific problem that you uniquely solve. And number three, they are looking for a specific transformation in their life from where they're at to where they want to go. Specific person you're looking to help, specific problem that you solve, that you uniquely solve. And number three, that person is looking for a specific transformation. You're going to take them there. You're going to show them. If somebody got started with you, where are you taking them in their first 6 months? Now, I'm not talking about what the academy looks like. Okay. We know where they can go. You're not going to make any money if you don't get that out your mind. Okay. I can always tell where somebody's at mentally, emotionally. You can too, based on the questions that they ask. I can always tell how somebody defines success based on how they show up, based on how they view certain things, based on their questions. Okay. So your I help statement is going to summarize those three things I just told you: specific person, specific problem, and the specific transformation. If you haven't heard me talk about this yet, I think I mentioned it briefly, but your I help statement, I help XYZ, solve this problem for this transformation, whatever. It's not going to sound like that, but I'll give you an example. Your I help statement summarizes those three things. Your I help statement is your mission. Like, that's your mission. That's what drives you in all that you do. Okay. But you've got to know who you're looking to help. These questions, going back to that, is going to help you get that starting point. Okay. So leaving this call, you want to start to create that I help statement. And I've totally have texted it to myself a bunch of times. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Hold on one second. Here we go. Sometimes when I pull up Instagram on my computer, it like makes me like sign out or whatever. Okay, so my I help statement sounds something like this, and I'm still refining it, but this is where I'm at right now. And for those of you that are going to be doing this after this call or over the next week, you might get frustrated. It's okay. I can't tell you how frustrated I was. I'm not trying to like bring anybody negativity. I'm just saying you might feel frustrated trying to get this, and that's because it takes some work. You're gonna dig. Like, you're gonna really sit there at the table and you're just gonna like be writing things out, and you're just gonna like be sorting through this. Because once you get this is your mission. This is the reason why you show up. This is the reason why you do things. This is where you're going. This is going to give you that clarity, which is going to lead to your confidence and your belief. And this is going to help you, like, not even help you stay consistent and take action, but like, this is going to be the reason why you can't you can't think about anything else. Okay. So I help driven 9-to-5ers. I don't know if that's a thing, but I wrote it. Okay. I help driven 9-to-5ers that feel limited in their ability to grow, find purpose and meaning beyond their job. I help driven 9-to-5ers that feel limited in their ability to grow, find purpose and meaning beyond their job. So I can't tell you how many times I wrote mine out, deleted it, scratched it out, threw it away. So when you write yours, your first few, maybe your first one is the one. I don't know, but maybe your next 10 is. And after this call, I'm gonna send you guys some resources of how you can start to develop yours beyond just this call right now that we're doing together, because that's how I figured out mine. That's how I developed mine. A lot of this information I'm learning from that guy, Bob Heilig. I've been watching his IG lives like every morning. He goes live on Instagram at 9 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and they're all recorded on his page. So if you can't watch it live, it's all good. But I've been learning and I've been studying and I've been like getting super clear because I'm hungry. I'm personally tired of getting results that I'm getting. I want different results. I want to show up differently. I know that there's a problem in my life right now, and I need help. I need guidance. I need a new approach. I need a new perspective. I'm curious, and I encourage you guys on this call, like, if you feel that way in your life, don't sit back and wait for the answer. Don't sit back and wait for these calls to happen. I don't know if you do that, but just don't wait for anybody to come and save you. Like, I always know, like, I love my uplines and my mentors in my life, but I'm going to go out and get it. Like, I'm not sitting around and waiting. I will leverage them with questions that I have. But if I have a problem, like, I am finding that answer. I'm not sitting back and waiting. Like, I've got to go. You'll see me like just doing what I got to do. And I encourage you to do that too. Okay. So the last couple things I'm going to say on this call, we're going to wrap it up. Hopefully you guys will leave here with that clarity of what you need to do next. But listen, most people don't even know that they have a problem. Most people that you will speak to, maybe even ourselves, we don't even recognize that we have a problem. And so what we're doing is we're helping people recognize and explore the impact of that problem that they have and build within them a greater desire to actually make a change. So we're helping people actually identify their own problem based on purposeful questions, okay? And helping them recognize and explore the impact of that problem. We're helping them build a greater desire to actually want to make that change, to actually want to make a change. Most people don't know they have a problem. Like, they don't understand what type of impact that problem is having in their life. And what we get to do is help people recognize the problem and build a greater desire within them to actually want to make a change. And when we can challenge them and we can encourage them and really stretch the way that they think and show them this, not blatantly and bluntly, but like through our questions, allowing them to be like, oh man, okay, we're going to allow them to cultivate that desire to actually want to make a change. And they're going to recognize through that process that you can help them. And over the next 6 weeks, I know some of this, you're like, well, how do I do that? Where do I start? Over the next 6 weeks, that focus group, that's what our primary topic is going to be about, is getting into these questions, getting into the impacts of the problem, and having these conversations. Okay. So your mission is not what you offer, it's how you help. Okay. Your mission is not what you offer, it's how you help. And so I want you guys to change the way that you have these conversations. Your product, your service, whatever, IM Academy, it's just a vehicle to help you create a personal transformation. I'm going to help you grow. This is what I'm telling myself to the people that I'm working with, you guys, and who I'm helping, new people. I'm going to help you grow beyond your limiting beliefs, whether you use the services or not. And I'll take it a step further. Whether you have the monetary success in the services or not, based on your timeline or your deadline, okay? That's my mission. That's mission, okay? That's drive. That's a level beyond what I believe a lot of us are at right now. And so you got to get clear on those questions to start. You got to get clear on your values. There's a value question up there, okay? Regardless of where you're at in your journey with the Academy, you can still, this is the point I wanted to make. Regardless of where you're at in your journey with the Academy, okay? You can still, this is my mission, you can still feel good about yourself because you've defined what success looks like. You know your values, and you know that you're breaking limiting beliefs. You know that you're uncovering that about yourself. Okay. So you make it bigger than just a product and a service. You make it bigger and deeper than just making money. You just die. Like, this is your mission. This is your work. And it doesn't have to stop here. This is just, I think, a starting point for many of us, even for myself. But anyways, guys, that is the call for today. I'm going to say one more thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I wrote it in here somewhere. I kept writing out the problem that people have. Yeah, the problem that people have. So to identify the problem that you solve, I'll give you my quick example. I already told you it in my I help statement, but I'll break it down like this. The problem that I solve is for people. It's not giving people financial freedom. It's not, helping people make money online. Like, that's not the problem that I solve. Okay. The problem that I solve is helping people I help people that feel capped on their ability to grow themselves. when I first, before I got started, I was that driven 9 to 5er. I was working a job and I was just trying to figure out what was next for me. I didn't feel like I felt limited on my ability to grow. I felt capped on my potential. I didn't have the right, maybe, I know it's all about being resourceful, but I didn't have the tools that we have in the academy, right? I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the right knowledge. I didn't have the best support system at Alex, but I didn't have the best support system. I didn't have people that were beyond us, right? I didn't feel like I had a sense of purpose or meaning. I was just working a job that was paying my bills. That was like my purpose in life, right? I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't feel like I had control over my future or my time. That's the I just gave you guys the impact. That's the impact of that problem that I'm solving. And maybe you guys steal from that. I don't know. I would hone in on yours, but you got to identify the problem that you're solving. The problem that people have that I want to work with, they feel capped, they feel limited. They feel like there's a lid on their potential, on their ability to grow themselves. Okay? And that's what you want to get clear on after this call. If you guys have questions, you can reach out to me. You can text me. If you want to do a one-on-one, that's totally cool. If you haven't done that 6-week form and you want to still be a part of this conversation, make sure you do it. If you've done it, I know in there I told you I was going to text you back 24, 48 hours. I'm going to do that today. I just had a lot going on this week, but I'm going to text you guys today. We're gonna have a conversation. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope this call was helpful. I hope this call gave you the clarity that you needed and the insight that you needed as well. And I hope to see you guys on the next 6-week focus group. But you guys have a great weekend, a great Saturday, and I'll talk with y'all later. Peace.